Hey there, welcome to the very first episode of our UiPath Maestro tutorial series. Before we dive into the BPMN Canvas, let's clear up some confusion. You might have heard the terms Agentic Orchestration and UiPath Maestro and thought, wait, are these two different things? Well, here's the simple truth. Agentic Orchestration is the approach, the idea of bots, AI, and people working together seamlessly. And UiPath Maestro is a tool that brings this concept to life. Think of agentic orchestration as a recipe and Maestro as a chef to make it happen. Okay, now let's talk about BPMN. BPMN stands for Business Process Model and Notation. It's like the blueprint for your automation process. It lets you design and visualize workflows in a way that is easy to understand and implement. In this episode, we will explore how to use BPMN Canvas in UiPath Maestro to model your processes. All right, let's get hands-on with the BPMN Canvas in UiPath Maestro. To access your BPMN Canvas, you can go to your automation cloud and click on the Maestro, right? When you click on it, you will be navigated to the Maestro page and you can click on the Start Modeling button. Otherwise, you can go to your UiPath Web Studio Web, sorry, and you can basically create a new project and select the agentic process. Or else you can navigate to bpmn.uipath.com and click on new BPMN model, new BPMN. So once you are in, you will see a clean canvas with the default start event. Think of this as your blank slate where you can drag and drop all these elements to design your process flow. Okay, now let's dive deeper. We'll look into the different types of start events. So there are majorly four main types of start events available in Maestro. First one would be the non-start event. Basically, this is the most basic start event. You just simply have to drag and drop it over here, right? There are no conditions. There is no schedule. It, it just runs when you call it. Think of it like a manual start button. The next one would be message start event. This one's a favorite for RCA, right? Message start event. It's triggered when a particular type of message or an email is received. Let's suppose that we receive an invoice from a particular vendor, right? The process will start. What you can do is you can simply double click on it to rename the event, like I've done it here. I can also say email received, right? And you can click on the properties panel and you can change the name of it. Okay. For the implementation part, you can click on the wait for connector event and select the connectors. Right? Here you need to find your appropriate tool. Let's suppose you are using Microsoft Outlook 365 or Microsoft Teams, right? Where is Outlook? Okay, never mind. Let's see. Gmail. Okay, you can simply click on the connect to Gmail and then it gets connected, right? But we won't do that now. We'll just simply click see now. Okay. Now the next event is timer event. Okay. So let's suppose your process starts at 2 a.m. daily. What you need to do is you click on the start event. Yeah. You can click on the change element and select this timer start event. Again, it's the same thing. You can click on the type of the timer cycle hourly, minutes, daily, weekly, monthly, right? Okay. Now, the last one is the conditional start event. This one starts a process based on data conditions. For example, start a refund process. If the amount is, I think it should be less than $10,000. Okay. Start the refund process only if the amount is less than 10,000. Right. Again, it's a connector. That's it about the start events. Okay. Before we go too far, we should define who is doing what in our process. Right. That's where pools and lanes come in. Okay. Before going into pools and lane, there is a quick tip that I would like to tell you. That is, by default, your page will be set to 100%. And this is how it shows on my screen. If you notice this validation issues box, I cannot move it. And there are certain elements which are hidden behind the validation box. Now, what I do is I zoom out, right? See the entire palette. Okay. And this is fit to view simply for the canvas. And you can close the properties panel as well. Okay. Now, what is pools and lane, right? A pool represents a team, system, or organization. Inside that pool, you can create a lane. Lanes represent different roles like manager, bot, or some other roles such as manager level 2. Okay. Now I'll quickly show you. I'll simply drag and drop participant. Okay. I can double click here to rename the participant. Call it as, let's suppose, some department name, or I can also call it as a client name, whatever it is, right? And then I can simply click on this button. I'll have to click on the element first, pool, and then click on the split lane into. So I'll get two swim lanes, right? So why are we doing this? Oops, my bad. Why we are doing this is basically so our diagram stays clean, and we know our everyone knows their role, right? That's pools and lanes. Okay. You can click on space bar to get this hand icon, and you can simply drag and drop through the canvas. Okay. What else you can do is you can hold the control key and zoom out or zoom in, scroll, use a scroll button to zoom in, zoom out. That's second tip. Okay. Next up is task. These are the activities that get done in your process. Right? So UiPath Maestro supports many types of activity. This is a normal activity, which is basically, for example, we have read input file. This is a user task. You can see the symbol over here. This basically depicts that this particular task is assigned to a human. And then we have a receive task, which is basically when we receive an email, okay, or any message-based actions. And this is a script task. Script tasks can be basically, you can write your script over here. I'm not sure in which language it is, but you can execute a script and write it in. Now, if you see, I'll simply drag and drop a task. Okay. Yeah. And I can click on the change element and select the desired task. Here's a user task. service task, send task, receive task. This is a manual task, and this is business rule task, script task, all activities, sub process. So there are so many things, but I believe we'll mostly use user task, service task, send task, and receive task first 4 times. And maybe sometimes we might also use a script task. Right. There's one more thing that I forgot to mention is basically when I click on the user task, you see there's an implementation. You can select the action as create action app. So what we are doing is we are routing this task to a real person who will be using UiPath's Action Center to approve or reject the invoice. Right. So basically, I'll have to create an action app first, and then it will showcase it over here, and then I can select it. Right. For now, we won't go there. Gateways. Gateways help your process make decisions. Want to route task based on approval status? This is where XOR and AND gateways come in. Okay. We'll dive into the exclusive gateway. You can select it here. This is the exclusive gateway. The symbol contains an X in a diamond. So what it does is basically takes in the decision, right? It takes the value and checks the condition. And based on the condition, it moves the either way, follows the either sequence flow. Now, what is sequence flow, you may ask? Sequence flow is basically an arrow between the two elements. What I've done is I have double clicked the sequence flow, named it as an approved, right? And I have specified this particular condition. That is, variable decision is true. Okay. Now, what is a variable decision? So basically, I have created a decision variable over here, which is of type Boolean, and the value I have hard coded it as a 3. Now, this variable value is checked in this particular condition. If it's approved, it goes to extract invoice details. If it is rejected, that means it will uh, notify the invoice status to SMEs. That's the exclusive gateway. It is also called as XOR gateway. Okay. Next, we have inclusive gateway. So the major difference is basically it works in parallel. That means, let's suppose this particular task is done, and what we are doing is we are checking the employee's role and location. Now, if the employee is working from home, we need to create a shipping request for the laptop, right? And if the employee is working from office, we don't need to do that, right? So this is basically an OR condition or gateway. That means these two tasks will work in parallelly, and this particular task will only work based on the location's value. If the location is remote, then only this task will be executed in parallel, or else the process will flow only through this two tasks. Now, the next one is parallel task. Okay, this one is parallel task. Parallel gateway. Sorry, not a task. This is a gateway, and this is a task. Okay, parallel means it works in parallel. Let's suppose if we have received an acceptance from client, what we need to do is we will notify the sales department that the proposal has been accepted, or not really the sales department. Maybe it can be something else, some else department, management. Okay. And we can update the CRM. So that's a parallel. Apart from this, there are two more gateways. One is the, sorry, where is it? It's the event based gateway. Depends on what event comes first. So let's suppose if there's one more event, we can add it over here. Something like if the client never responds for 7 days, for a particular duration time. What we can do is we can send a message. Okay, this is not a send a message, this is receive a message. But we can send an email, reminder email. Okay. And then there is one more that is basically complex gateway. So I won't be explaining the complex. It's basically to be explained in simple. It's custom logic. Okay. We won't go into it because I don't think so. We'll be using it mostly. So these are the three main gateways. And the last but not the least, the most important part, that is the end event. Quickly just delete this. And if you see, we have still one validation issue, that is missing diagram end event. Now, every good process must end, right? So what we do is we drag and drop this end event, and we can simply connect here, and our validation issue is gone. But this diagram is still incomplete, right? Because what we can do is there are different types of end events. Okay, this I'll simply just click and add end event here, and I'll change the element to message ending. What we are doing is notify invoice rejected. So instead of creating a different task, what I've done is I have directly specified the end event. And here we do the same thing. We add the connectors, right? Outlook and stuff. Okay, now you see the message sequence is currently red because I did not specify the condition. And that's pretty much it. So in this episode, we have explored the BPMN Canvas, key elements like start events, pools, names, tasks, gateways, and end events, right? So in the next episode, we'll take this diagram a step further. So if you like the video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you have any doubts, you may comment. I will reply. Okay. And thank you for watching this video.